Northwood Academy, creaky floors, cold classrooms, the kind of place that seemed to hold on to the past, where every corner whispered secrets of days gone by. Empty at night, except for the whispers. Whispers that seemed to come from the very walls themselves, as if the building was alive, breathing, and watching. Ghost stories, they called them. Tales passed down from one generation of students to the next. Stories of shadows moving on their own, of footsteps echoing in empty hallways. Students dared each other to walk the halls alone after dark. It was a test of bravery, a rite of passage, but no one ever made it far. The fear was too real, the whispers too close. No one dared. Until tonight. Tonight was different. We were determined to uncover the truth, to see if the stories were real or just figments of overactive imaginations. We huddled together, 3 friends in the old library. The air was thick with dust and the scent of old books. We could hear the rain lashing against the windows, a constant reminder of the storm outside. Rain lashed against the windows. Thunder rattled the glass panes. Each crash of thunder seemed to shake the very foundation of the building, making the whispers seem even louder. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, a different kind of chill. It was the kind of chill that seeped into your bones, that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. "Did you hear about the janitor?" whispered Jake, his eyes wide. His voice was barely audible over the sound of the storm, but the fear in his eyes was unmistakable. "They say he died here, still wanders the halls. His spirit trapped, forever searching for something he lost." The thought sent a shiver down my spine. "Stop it," I muttered, trying to sound brave. But my voice betrayed me, trembling with the same fear that gripped us all. The stories were just that, stories, weren't they? My heart thumped against my ribs. The old grandfather clock chimed midnight. Each chime seemed to echo through the empty halls, a countdown to something unknown. We held our breath, waiting, listening. The whispers grew louder, closer, and then silence. The storm raged on. Trees swayed violently outside. The power flickered, plunging us into darkness. We jumped, startled, then laughter, nervous and high-pitched. "We should try to call for help," Emily said, her voice trembling. Her hand shook as she reached for her phone. No signal. We were trapped. Another gust of wind rattled the windows. A low groan echoed through the library. We froze, holding our breath. "Just the wind," we told ourselves. "Let's just stay together," I said, my voice barely a whisper, "until morning." Hours crawled by. The storm showed no sign of letting up. We dozed, taking turns keeping watch. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside sent shivers down our spines. Then silence. The storm had stopped. We could finally breathe. But the silence was broken by a new sound, a soft, dragging sound, coming from the end of the hall. "What's that?" Emily whispered, her eyes wide with terror. We listened, holding our breath. The sound came again, closer this time. Curiosity warred with fear. We had to know. Slowly we crept out of the library and into the hallway. The air felt heavy, oppressive. Our flashlight beam danced across the walls, casting long, eerie shadows. The dragging sound grew louder. We stopped at the end of the hall. A door creaked open. A cold breeze swept out, carrying the scent of damp earth and something else, and something metallic. We peered inside, our hearts pounding in our chests. Section 5. The Janitor's Tale. This is a story that has been whispered through the halls for years. A tale that has grown with each retelling, shrouded in mystery and fear. The old janitor's closet. Dusty shelves lined the walls, filled with cleaning supplies and tools. It was a place often overlooked, a forgotten corner of the building where few dared to venture. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and cleaning chemicals, a testament to years of neglect. And in the center of the room, a dark shape. It was barely visible in the dim light, a shadow among shadows. The figure seemed to absorb the darkness, standing out even in the gloom. As our eyes adjusted to the darkness, we made out the figure. It was a person, hunched over as if carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. The room seemed to close in around us, the walls pressing in with a palpable sense of dread. It was hunched over, its back to us. The figure's posture was one of defeat, a silent testament to years of hardship and sorrow. We could feel the weight of its presence, a heavy, oppressive force that seemed to fill the room. We could hear it now, a low, mournful sob. The sound was heart-wrenching, a cry of despair that echoed through the small, confined space. It was a sound that spoke of deep, unending sorrow, a pain that had no end. Jake took a step forward, his hand reaching out. His movements were slow, cautious, as if he feared disturbing the fragile peace of the room. His hand trembled slightly, a reflection of the fear and uncertainty that gripped us all. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling. The figure stiffened. The sound of Jake's voice seemed to cut through the darkness, a sharp, sudden intrusion that broke the stillness. The figure's reaction was immediate, a sudden, jerking movement that sent a shiver down our spines. It slowly turned, and we gasped. The movement was slow, deliberate, as if the figure was struggling against an invisible weight. As it turned, the shadows seemed to shift and move, revealing more of the figure's form. A pale, gaunt face stared back at us, its eyes hollow and filled with a deep sadness. The face was haunting, a visage of despair that seemed to reach out and touch our very souls. Those eyes, empty and lifeless, held a story of their own, a tale of loss and suffering that words could never fully capture. It was him, the janitor. His clothes were tattered and torn, his skin pale and ghostly. He opened his mouth as if to speak, but no sound came out, only that mournful sob. We stood frozen, caught between terror and pity. The air grew colder, and the scent of damp earth intensified. The ghost took a step towards us, his hand outstretched. "He wants to show us something," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. We exchanged nervous glances. Should we trust him? Fear battled with curiosity. Our legs screamed at us to run, but something held us there. The ghost's sorrow was palpable, reaching out to us. He turned and pointed down another hallway, his expression pleading. Then he began to fade, his form growing more and more translucent. He was disappearing. "We have to follow him," I said, my voice firm despite the tremor in my chest. Jake and Emily nodded, their faces pale but determined. We had come this far. We followed the ghost's direction, our hearts pounding in our chests. The air grew colder, the silence heavier as we ventured deeper into the school. Each step felt like a betrayal of our own fear. Finally we reached the door. It was unlocked. Inside, a small dusty room. The walls were covered in old newspaper clippings, faded photographs, and handwritten notes. The room told a story, the janitor's story. A story of love, loss, and a broken heart. He had died here, in this room, pining for his lost love. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the grimy windows, casting an eerie glow across the deserted hallways, we knew the night had changed us forever. The school, once a place of learning and laughter, now felt like a prison of memories we could never escape. We stumbled out of the school, our footsteps echoing in the silence of the early morning. The air was thick with the weight of what we had witnessed, and each of us carried a piece of that night within us. We were pale and shaken, our faces ghostly reflections of the fear that had gripped our hearts. The terror was etched into our expressions, a permanent reminder of the horrors we had faced. Forever marked by the night's events, we were no longer the carefree teenagers who had entered the school just hours before. The haunted look in our eyes spoke volumes of the ordeal we had endured. The ghost of the janitor, a spectral figure who roamed the dark hallways, had never harmed us. His presence was a constant, chilling reminder of the past, but his intentions were never malevolent. He only wanted his story heard, a tale of sorrow and regret that had been buried with him. His ghostly whispers filled the air, weaving a narrative of a life cut short and dreams unfulfilled. His sorrow had touched us deeply, leaving an indelible mark on our souls. We felt his pain as if it were our own, a shared burden that connected us to the spirit world. The icy handprint he left on our souls was a chilling reminder of the night we would never forget. It was as if his cold touch had seeped into our very beings, leaving us forever changed. We never spoke of that night again, a silent pact among friends who had shared an extraordinary experience. The memories lingered, unspoken but ever present, a bond that tied us together in silence. But sometimes, when the wind howls through the trees and the night is at its darkest, the memories resurface. The howling wind seems to carry the echoes of that night, a haunting reminder of the past. And when the rain beats against the windows, it feels as if the heavens themselves are weeping for the lost souls. The rhythmic patter of raindrops becomes a somber melody, a requiem for the departed. In those moments I can still hear that mournful sob, a ghostly cry that pierces the silence of the night. It is a sound that haunts my dreams, a reminder of the sorrow that lingers in the shadows, a chilling reminder of the secrets that haunt the halls of Northwood Academy, where the past and present intertwine in a dance of shadows and light. The school stands as a testament to the stories that refuse to be forgotten, forever haunted by the echoes of the